Okay, so on this lesson, we're going to be learning another way of solving a quadratic equation. On the front, we're going to kind of review using square roots, and then on the back, we're going to introduce completing the square, which actually uses a square root method at the end. So first off, complex solutions. If you remember, a complex number has a real part and an imaginary part. So the imaginary unit I is used to write the square root of a negative number. So remember, the square root of -1 equals I squared equals -1. And then this next part, it says if a plus bi is a root of a polynomial function, then its conjugate, a minus bi, is also a root of the function. Remember, a root is a part of your solution. So this is called a complex conjugate. Okay, so let's look at this first part. We're going to solve each equation using square roots. So we've actually already done this before. Now, square root method only works whenever you are missing the x term. So you just have something squared and a constant. So if you're missing just the x term, you're able to use a square root method. After we solve it, we're going to indicate whether they're real or imaginary solutions. So if you remember when we were using square root method, we first have to isolate the term that is squared. So I would like for you to circle it. So we need to isolate it by dividing by -8 at the beginning. So that gives you x squared equals -9. Now, since we have isolated the term that's squared, we're going to use the square root method. I'm taking the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is just x. Remember, when I take the square root of both sides, I get two answers, positive and negative. And then if there's a negative under the square root, I make it an I, and then I take the square root of that positive number. It just so happens that the square root of 9 is a perfect square, so we end up getting square root of 9 is 3, so we get a positive and a negative 3i for our solution. So remember, just like yesterday when we were solving graphically, we should be getting two answers because the majority of the time it intersects twice, okay? These are different because these are not real solutions, these are imaginary solutions, okay? So this is using square root method, which we've already done. Okay, so part B. This one looks a little different. We do have an x, but notice it is all squared. So really it would work out to be, we could use square root method. So whatever is squared, make sure you isolate it. So I need to get rid of this. So in order to get rid of the -5/3, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by -3/5 on both sides. So you can either do 75 times -3 and then divide it by 5, or you could reduce the 5 and 75 and then multiply it. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. So you should get -45. Okay, so now once you have isolated whatever is squared, then you can take the square root. So you don't need to do x squared plus 16 there. You need to take the square root. So that way that cancels out. We're just left with x minus 4. Remember, when I take the square root of both sides, I should get a positive and a negative answer. So I need to bring out the negative and put an I, and then take the square root of 45. I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. That 4 goes in the front. I can't combine it with anything. And then I also need to check my radical and see if I can simplify. I know 45 is not a perfect square, but I can use factor tree. So 3 times 15, 3 times 5. So it's a square root. I'm going to take a 3 out and leave the 5 underneath. So the 3 goes in front of the I, and then the 5 stays under because we didn't have a pair. Oh, and I forgot to, on the front, the first one, I needed to write this is an imaginary solution. This one is also imaginary because it has an I in its answer, which means there was a negative under the square root. Okay, let's look at the next one. So if it helps you, circle whatever is squared. You need to isolate it, which means get everything away from it that's not circled. So I first have to get rid of the 100. And then I have to get rid of the 3/2 by multiplying by the reciprocal on both sides. So that's 40/3. Leave it as fraction. Do not write it as a decimal because it's not going to help us with simplifying. Okay, so we have isolated the term that's squared. Now we can take the square root of both sides. Square root of x squared is just x. Notice here, when I take the square root of both sides, I get 2 answers. Also notice that there's no negative under the square root, which means we're not going to have an I in our answer. So if you remember from before, when I have a square root of a fraction, I first see if I can divide it. We can't divide 40 by 3. That's why we left it as a fraction. So I need to write it as the square root of 40 over the square root of 3. So I'm going to simplify if possible. So 40, 2 and 20, 2 and 10, 2 and 5. So this top piece would be 2 square root of 10 over square root of 3. Now, if you remember when we were dealing with radicals before, we can't have a radical in the denominator, so I have to rationalize it by multiplying it by itself since it's a square root. Remember, you can only multiply outsides and insides, so that's a 1 in front of that square root of 3, so that would just be a 2. And then square root of 30. And then that just cancels the radical, we just get a 3. So make sure your answer is in its simplest form, so make sure you simplify your radical. If you end up with a square root in the denominator, make sure that you multiply it by itself to get rid of it. So this would be a real solution because notice there is no imaginary part in it, which meant there wasn't a negative under the square root. Okay, so moving on. Example 2 says sketch a graph of f of x equals x squared plus 4. So like what we were doing yesterday, we're going to plug in x squared plus 4 in y1. In y2, make sure you type in your 0. And we're going to graph it. So if you go to your calculator, go to y equals, type in x squared plus 4. Type in 0 in y2. If you graph it, it's going to look like this. So if you remember from yesterday when we were solving these by graphing, we were trying to find the roots, solutions, zeros, x-intercepts. They all mean the same thing. Notice this one is not crossing the x-axis. So now it tells me that I want to solve x squared plus 4 equals 0 using square roots. So remember we just went over that. We want to isolate the term that's squared, so I'm going to subtract 4. So then we have to take the square root. Remember when you take the square root of both sides, you get 2 answers. There's a negative under it, so it would be I and then square root of 4. Square root of 4, it is a perfect square. Square root of 4 equals 2, so you would just get a 2i, positive and negative. It says, how does the graph relate to the solutions? Notice, if we were to graph and it does not cross the x-axis, that means you have imaginary solutions. So graphing doesn't work every time. Okay, that's when we're learning other ways of solving a quadratic because we don't always have real solutions. Sometimes we have imaginary solutions. So if it doesn't cross the x-axis, if you were graphing it to solve it, well, you know you're going to have to use a different method to find those imaginary solutions. Okay, let's flip over. Now we're going to learn the new method. So at the back, we're going to solve quadratic equations by completing the square. So completing the square is related to solving using square roots. That's why we kind of reviewed that on the front. So your first step is to arrange the quadratic and linear terms on one side of the equation and your constant on the other. So this form here, that's the form you wanted in. Second step is to divide all your terms, both sides, by the coefficient of your quadratic term, which is your x squared term, a. So sometimes you just have an x squared and you don't have to divide it. But notice this example that we're given, there's a 3. So you would have to divide all of these by 3. Now it just so happens sometimes that gives you a fraction. So after you divide it all by that leading coefficient, step 3 is to add. You're going to have to plug in to this formula. So b over 2a, and then you're going to square it. Whatever you get, you're going to add that to both sides. So if I look at this, I need to do negative 6 over 2 times a. So that's negative 3. And then I need to square it, which would be 9. So that's where this 9 comes from. So you need to do negative 6 over 2 times 1. And actually, you could just do b divided by 2 squared, since a is always going to be 1 because you're dividing by it. Okay? All right, so that will be the number that you add to both sides. You should now be able to factor this using sum and product, and you should get the same 2 factors, which means the same 2 numbers. Sum is negative 6. Product is 9. That would be a negative 3 and a negative 3. That's why when they factored it to a perfect square trinomial. So x minus 3 squared. Now we can use the square root method like we did on the front. Take the square root of both sides. That cancels out. You're left with x minus 3. Plus and minus square root of 10 over 3. And then you have to simplify it like we were doing on the front. So this is called completing the square, because you're trying to factor it to a binomial squared. Okay, so let's do an example. So first thing, we want it in this form. So I need to leave my x squared, but I need to subtract 12x over, and then I need to subtract the 64 over here, because I want my x squared and x on one side, my constant on the other. So now I'm going to complete the square. So I'm going to half the b. So negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6, and then I'm going to square it. So when I square it, negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. So I'm going to, when I find that number, I'm going to add it to both sides of the equation, because I can always adjust an equation as long as I do it to both sides. So now I should be able to factor this. This should be a perfect square trinomial. I should now be able to factor it to the same 2 factors. Sum is negative 12, product is 36. So that would be a negative 6 and a negative 6. So I'm going to write it as, instead of x minus 6, I'm going to write it as x minus 6 squared. Excuse me. So then I'm going to do negative 64 plus 36, which would be negative 28. Now I can use the square root method. That leaves me with x minus 6. Make sure when you take the square root of both sides, you get 2 answers. And then since there's a negative under the square root, it's an I. And then to get x by itself, I need to add 6, put it in the very front, because can't combine it with anything. And very last step, you need to make sure that your radical is in simplest form. It's not a perfect square, but I need to use factor tree. So 2 and 14, 2 and 7. So that would be, bring the 2 out, so 2i square root of 7. So this is another way of solving a quadratic equation. We weren't able to use the actual square root method at the beginning because we didn't have anything that was squared without that missing x term right here. So we had to complete the square, and then we were able to use the square root method. Okay, so instead of doing this example, we're going to do this one down here. So x squared minus 4x plus 2 equals 0. So we're going to complete the square. So remember, we want x squared, x on one side, constant on the other. So I'm going to start out by subtracting the 2 over. Notice I don't need to divide by anything because my a is a 1 in front. So I don't have to divide it. All right, so I'm going to half my b and then square it. So I'm going to do negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2, and then I'm going to square it, which would give me 4. So I'm going to add whatever I get when I complete this square. I'm going to add that number to both sides. That's a common mistake, is forgetting to do it to both sides. So that way you aren't changing anything. You're just doing the same exact thing. So remember, this should be a perfect square trinomial. So I should be able to factor it to the same two numbers, which is negative 2. And actually, it should always be half of that number there. So half of negative 4 is negative 2. Negative 2 and negative 2 multiply to 4, add to negative 4. Make sure you combine these two, which is just 2. Okay, so now I can take the square root of both sides because I have my term that is squared. So I just get x minus 2. Remember, when you take the square root of both sides, you get 2 answers. And notice there's no negative underneath the radical. So just bring down square root of 2. Add 2. We can't combine it with anything else, so it goes in the front. And check your radical at the end. Notice square root of 2 is not perfect, and we can't simplify it. So that's as far as you can go. So this is called completing the square. Your goal is to try and make it look like this, so that way you can use the square root method after that. If you have any questions, let me know.